There is an $8 root growing wild in roadside ditches from Oregon to Vermont. No prescription, no patent, and it binds the same brain receptor as Xanax. Roman soldiers took it, Civil War medics issued it, and yet no American doctor will recommend it today. Valeriana officinalis was a standard remedy in the medicine cabinets of Rome, Elizabethan England, and American frontier pharmacies, until a single 1910 report funded by the Carnegie Foundation closed every American medical school that taught it. The last one shut its doors in 1939. On September 23, 2020, the FDA put a boxed warning on the drug that replaced it. The root is still legal. It is still growing. It is still about $8 a pound. In 2007, researchers at the University of Vienna isolated valerianic acid from Valeriana officinalis and tested it on the GABA-A receptor, the same neural gateway influenced by drugs like Xanax and Valium. Their results were precise. Valerianic acid targeted the beta-2 and beta-3 subunits, leaving beta-1 almost unaffected. When the beta-3 subunit was altered at a single position, N265, the effect disappeared entirely, using xenopus oocytes engineered to express human GABA. Subunits, the team measured chloride currents. Valerianic acid, at concentrations from 2.5 to 100 micromolar, increased the current up to 2.5 times baseline, but only if beta-3 was present and unchanged. Synthetic loriclazole, a known modulator, produced the same pattern, confirming a specific binding site. 2 years later in Zurich, the Benke group bred mice with the N265 mutation in beta-3. Normal mice given valerianic acid spent 35% more time exploring open arms in the elevated plus maze, a classic sign of reduced anxiety. Mutant mice showed no change. Diazepam, by contrast, worked in both groups. Flumazenil, the benzodiazepine antidote, could not block valerianic acid's action. The active chemistry of the root occupies a distinct site, now called the loriclazole pocket. Findings from Vienna and Zurich have been cited in over 350 scientific papers and referenced in pharmaceutical patents. This is molecular evidence, not folklore. The root acts through a traceable non-benzodiazepine pathway. Dioscorides, writing in the 1st century, recorded a root called Fu, Valeriana officinalis, boiled for its power to induce sleep and calm the mind. Galen, the physician of Pergamon, prescribed the same root for patients unable to find rest, claiming it settled the humors and brought tranquility to the night. 1,500 years later, John Gerard listed valerian in his 1597 Herbal as a remedy for heaviness of spirit and sleeplessness, recommending a cup of its tea for sweet dreams. Nicholas Culpeper, in 1652, called valerian the all-heal, prescribing 2 drachms of dried root in warm water for trembling, palpitations, and insomnia. By the 20th century, the tradition had not faded. In March 1917, British military field hospitals in France issued valerian root tea to soldiers diagnosed with shell shock. Medical logs note reduced agitation and improved sleep. The U.S. Army's 1917 Pharmacopoeia listed valerian, 2 grams of dried root per dose, for nervous debility and insomnia in field hospitals. This is not a scattered folklore. 5 witnesses, Dioscorides, Galen, Gerard, Culpeper, and the World War I medics, each, in their own era, prescribed the same root for the same complaints. The chemistry is concentrated in the root and rhizome, and the record is unbroken, a line of professional use that stretches across 18 centuries. Valerian was not disproven. Valerian was defunded. In 2009, a research team at the University of Washington set out to test valerian's promise in the demographic most likely to reach for it, older women struggling with sleep. Led by Diana Tybee, the group enrolled 86 women, average age 64, in a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial. Each night for a month, half took a 450 milligram standardized valerian extract, the other half took a placebo. Sleep quality was measured by the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index and by actigraphy, tracking both subjective and objective changes. The result was clear: no statistically significant difference between valerian and placebo. The p-value for sleep latency was 0.42. Mild gastrointestinal complaints surfaced in both groups, but no serious side effects appeared. The study's conclusion left no room for wishful thinking. Valerian did not outperform placebo on any measured outcome. This film is not a sales pitch. The question is not whether Valerian works for everyone, but why a root with a known molecular target and a safety record was quietly erased from American medical culture, while remaining legal, cheap, and accessible. In June 1910, Abraham Flexner delivered his report to the Carnegie Foundation, drawing a sharp line through the map of American medical education. Botanical and eclectic schools, those teaching plant-based therapeutics, including Valerian, were singled out as unscientific, proprietary, and obsolete. Flexner's language was direct. Medical education must be grounded in laboratory science. Schools devoted principally to plant-based therapeutics should be discontinued. The Carnegie Foundation followed his recommendations with financial muscle. University-affiliated programs received new grants, while botanical colleges saw their funding withdrawn. The board's minutes from July 1912 spelled it out. Any school whose curriculum remained principally botanical and lacked a teaching hospital would lose support. By 1925, 80 of the 160 eclectic and botanical institutions had closed their doors, a tally documented by Paul Starr. Eclectic catalogs from Cincinnati to Chicago listed courses in Valerian pharmacology and plant materia medica, subjects erased when the grants vanished. The refrain echoed in the years that followed. You can't patent a root. What replaced these schools was not a better answer to anxiety or sleeplessness, but a system built to reward what could be owned, prescribed, and sold. In 1979, the Upjohn Company secured U.S. patent 3,987,052 for Alprazolam, a laboratory-engineered benzodiazepine designed to target the GABA-A receptor complex. This patent granted exclusive rights to a molecule that, like valerianic acid, modulates the brain's main inhibitory gateway, with a synthetic structure, and at a site optimized for rapid anxiolytic effect. Alprazolam entered the market as Xanax in 1981, quickly becoming the most prescribed psychiatric drug in the United States. By the 1990s, its reach extended to tens of millions of prescriptions per year. The downstream cost of this pharmaceutical ascendancy is now written in epidemiological data. In 2014, a cohort study published in BMJ followed over 8,000 older adults in France. The hazard ratio for developing Alzheimer's disease after at least 3 months of benzodiazepine use was 1.51, a 51% increase in risk compared to non-users. The FDA responded in September 2020 with a class-wide boxed warning. Long-term benzodiazepine use can cause dependence, cognitive decline, and fatal withdrawal. The warning is not theoretical. It is printed in bold black ink on every bottle dispensed in the country. The pill works. That is the problem. The botanical exit was not a matter of scientific disproof, but of market replacement. What could not be patented was replaced by what could. The public health cost, measured in lost memory and dependence, remains an open account. In 1985, the German Federal Health Agency issued a formal endorsement for valerian root, listing it in the Commission E monographs as an approved remedy for restlessness and nervous disturbance of sleep. The expert panel, chaired by Dr. E. Mueller and Professor J. Krauss, reviewed clinical and pharmacological data before recommending a dose of 2 to 3 grams of dried root, taken 2 to 3 times daily. This was not a fringe opinion. The monograph recognized valerian as both safe and suitable for short-term use, providing official guidance for doctors and pharmacists across Germany. While American institutions erased botanical medicine from the curriculum, German regulators codified it into national health policy. The Commission E record, published in Berlin and later translated by the American Botanical Council, remains a reference for European practitioners to this day. Valerian root has never disappeared from reach. In the United States, it remains legal, classified as a dietary supplement with no prescription required. Walk into a health food store or browse an online retailer, and a pound of dried root sells for $18 to $24. That single pound, measured at 2 grams per cup, yields nearly 200 cups of tea, enough for months of nightly use. The plant itself is easy to grow. Valeriana officinalis thrives in USDA zones 5 through 9, favoring cool, moist soil and partial shade. Gardeners start seeds in early spring and wait for the second autumn to harvest the mature roots, when the concentration of active compounds peaks. The unmistakable scent, rich in isovaleric acid, signals a healthy crop. No patents, no gatekeepers, no need for a prescription. The chemistry sits in the root, and the root remains available to anyone willing to plant, dig, or buy it. The tradition persists, quietly, outside the boundaries set a century ago. Valerian was not disproven. Valerian was defunded. Today, its root remains cheap, legal, and ignored, despite valerianic acid binding the beta-3 subunit that benzodiazepines target. The pill works. That is the problem. American medicine never answered whether access or authority decides what we call treatment. What do you think?